Hello, hello. Good morning to you don't have access to this feature. Oh, I put the arrow I put my cursor or my arrow thing on something and okay, it scared me. Welcome everyone. Thank you for being here today. I really apologize for the confusion yesterday. Um I have like no excuse other than I'm still figuring out the best strategy of getting on these daily tune-ins, and I typically will set the tune-ins up in during my day so that you can just get onto YouTube and click the link. And I did that yesterday, forgetting that I was going to be going live through Zoom. So when Zoom went live with our chat, it created another whole link. So I know that many of you were on the other one, but I loved that the other one, you were chatting along and you got started with the community part of it. And it tickled me when I went over there afterwards. And however, I know that some of you missed the actual live daily tune in. So I will be a little bit more cognizant of that next time, because I really enjoyed having the our Ascension Bank members on, and Carol, our Ascension Incubator member, because I think I got off that call yesterday off of our daily tune in. And since then, I've had several aha moments that have helped me piece things together that came from just that particular conversation. So as I'm marinating on these new insights and these new understandings, I'm going to read a little bit to you today. I'm realizing that it is in community, like this ascension journey, the spiritual journey, the healing journey, whatever we want to call it. There's a lot of different names for it, but we're all on this journey of evolving our souls, and we're aware that we are here on this planet to do that. So those of us in this community are working towards that. And as we've walked along this journey, all of us in some form or another have come together and said, this is a really lonely journey. Like, this is, it's lonely. You feel like you're by yourself. You feel as though no one's ever going to understand you again. I'm still in that mode. Like, does anybody ever, until I come on to our calls? Not, and that, I believe, is what is the meat and potatoes of what we're doing here, and where we're kind of being guided in this community with these daily tune-ins and these 90 days, is tuning into the world around you that you want to create in community with those who you want to create with. And what I'm noticing is we are all gravitating together more and more in this, especially in, I'm going to call it the Ascension Bank. It has nothing to do with me putting something together. It's just the space that we all came together because we all kind of resonated with the same intention of speaking and communing and having conversation around this journey that maybe we felt very lonely in at one time or another, or all the time, right? So what's happening here, I believe, is this beautiful expansion into what the Ascension Bank is, what the daily tune-in is, where we're headed, and calling in the souls that are wanting to be part of a deeper conversation, and have it not be someone showing up to teach. Because who am I to teach? I've never been through this ascension process in conscious awareness. So have always been felt a little bit of a dissonance with being, a teacher or a facilitator. What I'm finding myself personally experiencing is that I'm settling more and more into this community idea, and maybe being a facilitator of conversations. I'm already being a facilitator of conversations with beings that we can't see, and that has really lifted me into a higher consciousness altogether. And the higher I go, the more that there's an urgency that we all come together in conversation. So that was a really big thing that we did yesterday. So thank you for Carol, Brenna, and Tara for being on there with me, because I think that is the beginning of something that's going to help us create spaces for people to come to when these next wave of people come and are now aware of this journey. They're going to come and look for the spaces where they can kind of sit in between people who are talking about this, who have been through it, who have experienced it. And that ties in with the message for today. So just a little bit of a prelude, but just some new realizations that I've been working with today. So thank you all for bringing that conversation and on the different viewpoints of the plot twist, because we're going to go a little bit deeper into that today. First, I want to share a storehouse moment with you, and this is a really big deal, and I'm going to tell you why first. When I was divorced in 2016 and was a single mom, and going through that phase of my world, and how my clothes were the last thing I ever thought of, like just getting food on the table and keeping my boys alive was like my priority. So I had clothes from my lifetime, and I wore the hell out of those clothes when Bud and I met. Any extra money that we would have, we would put into experiences. We would go and do things. Like I didn't want to invest, extra money, which really wasn't a whole lot of extra, into my wardrobe. So I'm like, I'm fine. I've got plenty of stuff. So when we got rid of everything and decided that we had to get everything down into 6 suitcases, that really took down a lot of my wardrobe. So what made the clothes that made our wardrobe, or that luggage that we've been living with for a year, a little over a year now, was like stuff that had been worn for a long time, and then it was nothing but worn for another year. So we literally rolled into Saranda in tattered clothes, not, but because along our way, I was like, I'll pick up things along the way. We were in Mexico. Quite frankly, I couldn't find much there. I literally would go to the supermarket, and the only place that I could that had cute stuff around there was the supermarket. So I had a couple supermarket things. By the end of the summer in Mexico, they were shredded. And then we went to Ukraine, and Ukraine's 20 years backwards, like in fashion. They are still in the 90s. And Bud and I would walk around there, and he'd be like, go check out that store, babe. They've got some clothes. And I'd go in there, and I'd like try stuff on, and we would laugh because it was literally from the 90s. So I didn't want to repeat the 90s, like that wasn't 80s maybe, but 90s I wasn't willing to do. So we left Ukraine in our tattered clothes, and we got here. And now in Saranda, there's a freshness here. There's it's just, I don't know, there's something different. So we found a few different places. And yesterday I spent $150 on clothes. And I say it and I tell you how much I spent, because here $150 gets you a ton of stuff, which is amazing. But also, I can't tell you the last time I allowed myself to spend $150 on myself, because it was always, I'm going to spend it, I'm going to spend it. And yesterday it was about investing it. So I want to show you my new little outfit that I got. I got a little cute little shirt and some shorts you can barely see. So I'm not one to do the whole selfie in the mirror kind of thing, but I want to show you, because I've strutted my stuff. I have felt so different today walking around town. My shoulders were back. I actually had confidence, and I hadn't realized how depleted I was from just wearing old tattered clothes and not investing in myself. And after yesterday, Bud got a pair of flip flops. He hasn't had flip flops in over a year because he wore his out in Mexico. And he finally bought his, and he was like literally walking around. He was like, babe, look at my flip flops, look at my flip flops. So it's so stupid. But I share this because it's been a storehouse moment. I can't tell you how many times today I was like, honey, look, I look so sassy. I look so fresh. But it literally has changed my life to invest in some new clothes that I feel good in. I feel like I'm coming alive again. So this is a storehouse moment, and I'm sharing it just from my own experience. But it's like this simplicity that I've gotten to in life, in the little things that bring so much joy, is so consciously aware in my mind that I am realizing how much I took for granted in that old life. I took so much for granted and was, quick to just throw down a credit card back in the day. And then I got to the point where I couldn't do that anymore, because I got myself into issues with that. And then I just went full on I only have one debit card, and I only, pay with cash, but I couldn't do that. And so my mom would help. And then I got to the point where it was just only cash, and we pay only cash for everything. And I'm super excited about that. But when you do that and you make that choice, sometimes you have to pick and choose what you invest in. And I very rarely invested in myself, and now I realize that was not a mistake, but that was I've learned. So now I am willing to invest in myself, and investing over here in U.S. dollars is for now for now is pretty nice because you get a good return on your investment. So I have a message for you that I wanted to read. Thank you, by the way, for letting me share that little girly moment, but one that I think many of you will understand. Just kind of getting that little boost of confidence back after a lot of years of just ignoring something that, I kind of knew. Like, I always liked looking nice and, looking sassy and putting stuff together. I was a fashion major, and to bury that part of me for so long, just because I couldn't even do anything about it. Really, I didn't have, the income to do that. Um, Now it feels pretty I feel accomplished. I feel accomplished, and I know it's silly, but it's a big deal. So the message for today, I'm going to read it to you because it has to do. We're going deeper into the plot twist that I think is quite interesting where we're going. So let me take a sip. I always put my water there, forget to bring it over here, and have to do that same thing every day. So here's the message. If you would, maybe if you're at a point where you can close your eyes, or just listen with your ears. So here's the message. Dear one, there is quite a buildup of energy all around, yet there is a stillness within. There is peace. More and more of you are remembering that while you're still in physical form, you will always be subject to unexpected plot twists in order to initiate you into higher existence. When your plot twist shows up, you will know your initiation has begun. You will also be reminded that plot twists are always delivered for your good. Always. Resist the plot twist, and you will remain in the third dimensional, denser expression of your reality. Resistance creates more work for you. Surrender the plot twist to the higher good. Then you ascend into the fifth dimensional, lighter expression of reality, the more abundant expression of reality. Surrender creates flow. Flow accumulates into abundance. The plot twist is imminent. How you react or respond equals where that wrinkle of time takes you. React from fear, or are you going to respond with faith? This is the question to be answered once your plot twist drops into your reality. You are ready then to be a first responder for the global plot twist when that shows up. Your call, your job at that time will be to respond to those around you who may be reacting in fear. Remember, you are part of the team commissioned to navigate, activate, and respond accordingly to the global plot twist. But it first starts with your personal plot twist and how you navigate that. Respond accordingly. And that was the end of the message. And then something came up right after that I just kind of put a little note. And it said, remember plot twist. I know we've talked a little bit about the plot twist yesterday, and I'm going to come back to it. But the plot twist said it comes in a couple different ways. We have the conscious choice to make a plot twist, right? And walk in the direction of our heart to change something. Or if we've ignored, maybe a change that had to be made, eventually, unconsciously, life will deliver that plot twist, and that tends to be a little bit more painful, maybe, and it comes unexpectedly, and sometimes you react and you experience the fear of it. So there's two different ways that plot twists are showing up, and like, because this keeps coming up, I'm pretty certain, like, we each of us is going to receive something rather unexpected. So we've been talking about that, my little thing is kind of funky there. And we know that they're already showing up. Now, here's the thing that as we start looking at each other's perspective of plot twists, we heard Brenna's plot twist, which was literally her roof, or her house flooding and her, house falling apart, basically. So that was unexpected, but there was also a call or an intention somewhere in Brenna. Like, we all bring these plot twists within us. So there was something that just required change, and now she's being forced to, right? The plot twist will force you, and in that moment, and we heard how Brenna dealt with it. At first, she wanted to react and be angry and go into the victim mode, and how quickly she was able to shift that. How was she able to shift that? Through her consciousness and her awareness that she's been working on, that we've been working on here. We are now moving into that heart-centered response thing. She also moved into that response mode by having the support of her sister Tara, who is also on. I'd like to say also from our Telegram chat group, because she came out and we were all responded really quickly and was like, yes, this is exciting, right? We talked about that. And then there's other plot twists. The other thing, that how plot twists, they may be very subtle. It doesn't have to be literally like your ceiling caving in. It could be, but it could also be something. It comes down to a choice. A plot twist can happen just from one simple choice. So a couple weeks ago, I came in and said a plot twist arrived, and it was in the form of this job, this application process, and all of this stuff. And yet it looked logically like a really good deal, but my heart just kept saying no. And I could find small little logical parts of it that made sense as to why I didn't want it, but it just felt like a bigger call to say no. So I did, and thank you for those of you who supported me in that, because the incubator group, we talked about it. They helped me kind of see this perspective. So this perspective, our perspectives are being called to shift into a higher expression of reality, and it'll be triggered by a plot twist that either comes from us consciously if we choose to follow, to choose to make the decision and follow our heart, or we ignore it, or we react or react to it poorly, and then we have to repeat the pain of new lessons and all of that. Remember, the plot twist they said in today's message is the initiation. We have talked about the initiation for a while now. I know back in February I did a whole thing on what an initiation looks like. So now we're putting new words and making new connections. The plot twist is the initiation. It is the portal into that higher reality that you are moving into, because we are all moving into it in these 90 days. We're about 30 days into it, roughly. So we have about 9 more weeks to really tune into our awareness, fine tune these skill sets of all the different ways these plot twists are coming in, and changing the way in which we think we need to see something come into our lives. And now we are being asked to train in the skill set of feeling our way into decisions that have to do with where we want to go with our intentions, or how we respond to the unexpected things that show up. Because how we each, I don't know, y'all. I can't say this for sure, and I can't make logical sense out of it. But there's some kind of feeling that I get that for this community, for those of us who have committed to this 90 days, that we will be moved through our plot twist, kind of. You take these words at a high level, okay? Because these aren't details, but we're going to be moved through at a faster pace, so that we can then experience it and see it and know it and have evidence for it, so that when a global plot twist happens and occurs, like we've said we heard in the message, and we have to be the first responders to support the people who might be responding or reacting in fear, that we can help them respond, that we are then able to then say, here's our evidence. Here's how we know like what we're guiding you to do, we know it works because we've just been through this. I don't know if that's truth or not. It feels very truthful, but I can't really explain how this will look and what it'll look like. But I really think that there's a lot of deliberate purpose in these 90 days for us. And I think there's a deliberate purpose in how we are really honing into all different aspects of the storehouse and all different aspects of the plot twist. This has been about 3 weeks that those two things have really been looked at, and have we've been asked to look at and explore from all different perspectives, including your all's perspectives. So there's something to it, and I'm really paying attention to it because now we're starting to get evidence of how these plot twists are showing up. We heard Brenna's, we heard, well, it doesn't matter. I want to keep talking about individual people in case you don't want me to talking about you, but I do know from our calls on in the Ascension Bank that these things are showing up that for us individually, we're like, this is really interesting. How the heck this is interesting. This could be a plot twist. It's either obvious, or for me, that job thing was an obvious thing. I thought it was obvious because I was going in that direction. But what surprised me was I didn't go in that direction, and I didn't have, full on reason to give myself, but I was like, I'm going to say no to this. And we are all being directed in that direction, so that when that plot twist come or that decision is made, we are full force into these 90 days. So I believe we are all on our path at this point, and we are being accelerated. The word accelerated keeps coming to me, and I don't know what that means, but I think it's kind of something having to do with us working through this process for the next 90 days, getting really comfortable with it and really aware of all the different experiences, so we can speak from that and say, you know what, I didn't have that experience. However, I have a friend who I met with every single week for 12 weeks, and she had this experience, and here's how it rolled out for her, so that we can actually truthfully share in each other's experiences and use those experiences for the greater good of assistance and being first responders for those who might need a little bit more support in the global plot twists and whatever that looks like. So I think we're kind of understand where we're going here, but I think this is a very sweet 90 days. This first month has been surprising to me. It's not what I thought it was going to be. And I like that we're being asked to kind of experiment with some things and pull in other viewpoints. And I'd love to hear your all's feedback on the chat. Is it something that we want to do every like once a week, more often? If you want to hear less of me and have more people come on, we'll figure that out. So and I won't respond with I'll respond with compassion and then not take it personally, because I that wouldn't be a problem for me. So this is a community thing. So if you all are being called to share something with me or share, please do, because we're going in a direction together with this, and I'll do what I can, what I'm capable of doing technologically wise. But if I can bring us together, and we can have different conversations on perspectives of this process, I think it's only going to make us even better as a team when we're being called forth, and we already are. So we're in it. We are in it right now. So just have faith and be in that constant state of peace and love, empathy, and full on, like, eyes wide open. What do you need to see? What do you need to pay attention to? And what do you need to respond differently with? Okay. So let's see what you guys are talking about. Oh, hearing a lot of my voice. So let me take a sip. I said, oh, because I want to go back to the pin post on the Patreon page. Carly, our member Carly Stooner, put together a beautiful meditation, and it's called Harmonizing and Assimilating the New Energies. And it is quite timely, because this week, with it being now here, Easter was just here, but I know Easter was a week ago in the States, but we're in this time frame of the resurrection energy, which is resurrecting us into the higher the higher state of consciousness, into the higher expression of consciousness in physical form. So we are now in that at the moment. So it's perfect timing to do Carly's meditation because it helps you ground all of that down. So Ascension Bank members, that's available to you in the Ascension Bank. And if you I would love to invite you to become a part of this Ascension Bank for $22, a donation of $22 a month. You're in our community. We have weekly calls, and you get these beautiful meditations monthly. And now it's a communal thing. So I'm kind of collaborating and working and figuring out what it looks like to have our members offer their services in there when they are called, so that we can truly be a communal supportive place for those who are going through the ascension process. And as always, if you love what you get here and you are feeling fed spiritually, that's what this daily tune in is, to really help you come to an awareness of what is most sacred now, what needs to be, what's in this now moment, what are we tuning into that is so sacred to fill our spiritual selves, which then, as we know, overflows into our energetic and physical self. So if you feel like you've gotten some fuel today and you are spiritually fed, please consider donating to this platform, donating to this person here, this multidimensional being that does this in service to you, whether I get paid or not. And I would like to buy some more clothes. So not because I'm gluttonous, but because I got jeans with holes in them, and thank God. I'm in a day and age when jeans and holes are actually in style, because back in the day you would have known how much I needed some jeans, but not necessarily because I was so poor. I just couldn't find any cool ones that I wanted to invest in. So mama needs new jeans. So if you could send some love my way, I'm asking, and that's really uncomfortable, but that's the world we live in. And I do everything donation based because I want you to show up and get the value first and decide what that value means to you, and return that value if you feel led. Thank you all so much for being here. This has been a beautiful DTI for me today. I don't know why. Maybe because I feel confident and I feel better about myself. I think that's probably it. So thank you all so much for supporting this. I love you all, and see you tomorrow on tomorrow's Daily Tune In. Mwah! Have a good one.